For writing last time, I had you spend some time in your notebook, whether it was a Google notebook or an actual notebook, and all I needed you to do was just to write. Write lists, write boxes and bullets, write paragraphs. The idea is to just get your mind going with all the possibilities. Today, I need you to start honing in on those possibilities and coming up with a thesis. I mentioned this concept last week when we first started the unit, and I have this anchor chart here. I'm sorry it's not a very good copy, but it is what it is. The first thing you're supposed to do in order to develop a thesis statement is to find a territory and sometimes a part of this territory or an issue or idea within it. That's your topic. So it sounds very complicated, and when they say territory, you might think of states and countries and things like that, and that's okay. Really, what you're thinking is about one specific place in your head. Okay? It doesn't have to be an actual place. It can be just a place in your head, a memory in your head, or a topic in your head that you already know. So I have decided that I'm going to write about Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, and there are some things about it that I would like for you to know. So Thanksgiving is what I'm going to put in my circle. So that is my territory. So I've done that one. The second thing, it says review and collect relevant examples, ideas, information, and stories that could perhaps go into an essay on that topic. So notice it says perhaps. Just because you put it in the bubble doesn't mean it's actually going to make it into your final cut. It just means that it's on your mind right now. So I'm just going to do some brainstorming here about things I know about Thanksgiving. And I'm not going to conduct any research, so I might actually need to leave some spots to come back later, but I'm going to do my best. So I'm going to start with very general things, like I already told you, it's my favorite holiday. I also know about Thanksgiving that it tends to be a time to spend with family. Another idea about that is that you tend to eat. Thanksgiving is a big food holiday. Okay. One thing about Thanksgiving I know is that it has to do with the beginning of our country, but I also know as an adult that this idea about pilgrims and Indians and Native Americans, that some of that's not true. So I need to figure out a way to say that without writing a whole essay right here in my bubble map. So maybe I say that it has a complicated history. That might not be accurate. And that's something I might come back to later. We'll see where my essay takes me. Which leads me to the next thing. Thanksgiving became a holiday when a woman named Sarah she kept writing to the presidents to see if they would make it a holiday, and it didn't become a holiday until President Lincoln. Some of the things I know about Thanksgiving is that it's not on an actual same date. It's the same time frame every year. It's always the last Thursday in November. Whereas Christmas is always December 25th. Thanksgiving's not always the same day. Which I also know that means it's in the fall. Alright, so I'm going to stop right there. If I were doing this on my own, I could keep going, but I don't want to waste your time and you watch me just keep filling in ideas. So I'm going to review and collect relevant examples. I did that. Ask myself, what do I really, really want to say about this topic? And that's kind of hard for me. I guess what I want to say about Thanksgiving is that I don't think a lot of people know what it's really all about, as far as I think people think about the first Thanksgiving, and I don't think that the first Thanksgiving actually ever happened the way that we learned that it did. And I also think that nowadays stores are open on Thanksgiving, and it's just really different. So I guess if I were really, really looking about my words, I would say the meaning of Thanksgiving has changed over time. So that's what I need to say. I just got this idea. So I need to write that down before I forget. And by meaning, I guess I also mean purpose. It says reach for the exact words and say that idea as a sentence. And that's what I did. Guys, I didn't have that already prepared before I started. I sort of knew what I wanted to say, but then I had to talk it through. And by talking it through, we talked about this before, it's as a good writer, you're actually having a conversation with your paper, which sounds really weird, but I'm having my conversation out loud so that you can hear it. But really, you're not even talking to me, so I'm really just having my conversation with my piece of paper. So now I've reached for my words, and I've gotten, it says, is this a general idea that I actually do want to explore? If not, try another. And I'm not going to try another one because that is what I want to explore. But if you find yourself unable to come up with that one perfect idea, keep reaching. It's there. You'll find it. Once I have centered an idea, try saying it again, but a bit differently. And I should do this a bunch of times until it feels exactly right, and choose one. So I'm going to use a different color pen just to give you an idea down here. But now that I've got my map started, this is the idea that I want to repeat a few different times. So I say the meaning or purpose of Thanksgiving has changed over the years. So another way I could say that could be that Thanksgiving doesn't mean the same thing as it did maybe 100 years ago. That's okay. Here's another one. Some people might not realize the purpose of Thanksgiving. That's okay. What else could I say? I know what I'm getting at. It's just hard to put it into a sentence. Because what we know about how Native Americans were treated has changed, so has Thanksgiving. I don't know, I still really like my first one that I came up with, but I also like this one. Okay, so if I come back to my checklist, this is where I am. I'm down here at the bottom, and it's just time to choose. I need to really decide which one do I want to make my thesis statement for what I'm going to be writing about. All right, and I need to choose something that I can live with because I'm going to have to be working on this for several days. So I want you to think about that too. What do you want your thesis statement to be? So go through these steps, come up with a web in your notebook. If you can do it on Google, that's fine. Otherwise, do it here on a piece of paper. Then all I'm going to ask you to do to submit today is that one sentence, that one thesis idea. So if I were turning in this assignment to me, I'd have to choose between this one and this one. And I think I'm going to choose this one. So That's what I would be submitting. I would be submitting this. I'd click Submit Assignment, and then this is what I would type, and then that would be it today. Because the goal today isn't to come up with this quickly. This video started 10 minutes ago. It took me about 10 minutes to do this. It should take you at least 10 minutes to do this. If you notice that you're done in less than 5 minutes, I would kindly ask you to go back and think about it some more. It's not that your ideas might not be right, it's that I want you to think them through critically and carefully, not just write down the first thing that comes to mind. You need to talk it through, even if that conversation is just between you and your piece of paper.